Hello friends, in the series on the income tax cases, today we will discuss a very important case decided by Bangalore ITAT B bench, which was regarding section 14A disallowance read with rule 8D by the assessing officer. The issue before the tribunal was that if the assessing officer invokes rule 8D, which is after the recording of satisfaction that the claim of the assessee that the assessee has incurred nil expenses or assessee has incurred some amount of expenditure for claiming the exempt income is not correct. So the issue was that whether this satisfaction recorded only by making some generalized statements and without pinpointing any expenditure which is actually incurred by the assessee for earning that exempt income is correct. This issue has been taken up by the tribunal in the case of Manipal Education and Medical Group India Private Limited versus Assistant Commissioner of Income Tax. This case is reported in 127 ITR Tribunal at page number 623 and the date of the judgment is 29th July 2025. Section 14A talks about expenditure which is not allowed in earning any exempt income which is included in the computation of income of the assessee. For the assessment year 14-15, 15-16, 17-18 and 18-19, the assessing officer observed that the assessee has made some investments in the equity shares and in the mutual funds on which the assessee has received dividend income and claimed that dividend income exempt under section 10 subsection 35. The assessing officer raised a query for the disallowance under section 14A read with rule 8D, for which the assessee replied that the assessee has not incurred any expenditure for earning that exempt income, but in response to that, it was the viewpoint of the assessing officer that some expenses have been incurred by the assessee in the form of salaries, rent, audit fees, and accordingly the assessing officer disallowed the expenses by taking the 0.5% rate as mentioned in section 14A read with rule 8D. Simultaneously, the assessing officer added same amount into MAT calculation under section 115 JB. It was the submission of the assessee that no error has been pointed out by the assessing officer into the books of accounts. So the viewpoint of the assessing officer that the assessee has not maintained the accounts in a way that the disallowance can be calculated is not correct. It was the submission of the assessee that only part of the accounts have not been accepted by the assessing officer and rest of the accounts have been accepted by the assessing officer. So the assessing officer has made the addition only by making the generalized statement which is not the proper satisfaction as per section 14A. When the matter was before the CIT appeal gave relief to the assessee to some extent and restricted the disallowance up to the amount of income received by the assessee. When the matter was before the Honorable Tribunal, the Tribunal said that in the present case, the assessing officer before examining the claim of the assessee worked out the disallowance under Rule 8D. The tribunal said that general observation cannot be said to be the proper satisfaction and the assessing officer claim that the books of accounts is not maintained so as to calculate the proper amount of disallowance is not correct. The assessing officer has not pointed out any of the error into the accounts and the assessing officer has accepted rest of the accounts maintained by the assessee. The tribunal said that statement without substantive evidence could not be said to be the proper satisfaction and unless and until the assessing officer has pointed out the specific expenses which are incurred for earning the exempt income, the disallowance under Rule 8D is not justified. It was the viewpoint of the tribunal that even if the assessee has recorded or shown nil expenses regarding the exempt income, even in that case it is the duty of the assessing officer to record the satisfaction about the expenditure incurred by the assessee in earning the exempt income, which has not been done in the present case. At the end of this video, once again I am repeating the name of the case. The name of the case is Manipal Education and Medical Group India Private Limited versus Assistant Commissioner of Income Tax, and this case is reported in 127 ITR Tribunal at page number 623, and the date of the judgment is 29th July 2025. Thank you, friends.